DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK Sports has a way of looping around and giving us these moments where you feel like, I've been here before. This story looks familiar. The names have changed. Maybe the jersey changes. Maybe it doesn't. But the stories repeat over and over, and they intersect. The Dodgers, are they winning because they have stars? Absolutely. But have they gotten valuable contributions from role guys and guys who aren't making nearly as much money and don't have the celebrity? Absolutely. And we were just talking about the Sixers. Man, they're lucky they got a guy on a rookie contract and lucky they got LeBron at a big discount. And obviously they're paying some other guys big money. You can't win without your stars, but you better have the role players and get it right. And the Jazz are back, as you just pointed out when we were talking the break, the Jazz are back where they were 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Right.
2 highly paid guys, and they're good. But are they as good as the other team's good guys? Are they good enough to get you deep in the playoffs, get you to a conference final, which the Jazz haven't been to for close to 20, not quite, but close to 20 years now. And then back to the NBA Finals where they haven't been in almost 30 years. And if they get there, is it going to be those 2 guys, or is it going to be the fact that they find some guys around them who are more valuable than what they're getting paid?
Well, I can answer yes to both.
That is the path forward.
Your highest paid guys have to deliver at the highest levels. If they don't, and you have salary relative to production imbalance, then no.
If your $50 million guy plays like a $35 million guy, you're in trouble.
Right. And there are 2 guys that are both above 45. I think one's Markkanen's 46 and Jackson's 49. They have to play like that. Those 2, when we get to January, better be strong contenders for all-star bids. If they are,
at minimum,
then the team's going to be good.
Yeah, at minimum.
Because I think the other guys right now are not set up to be stars, but they'll do what they are capable of doing. And that capability will, to an extent, remain unknown until we get to January and so forth. Because you could argue right now, they've got several guys that can contribute beyond their salaries. I think the number 1 guy right now is George. And the third highest player is Peterson on this team. And so he can do it. I suspect he will, and that'll put them in a good spot. And then Ace Bailey's making 9.5. I don't know what he's going to do. It remains to be still young. He's still unproven. And then obviously Darren Peterson is, as at the NBA level, is as unproven as you can get because he hasn't played a game. But what's he going to be able to do? So I think he'll be fine relative to his salary, just like I think the other 2 will. And then you go. But for now, for the short term, how great can these 2 guys be at the top?
Because combined, they're getting $95 million, and it's going to go to 100 and 105 over the next couple of years.
Yeah, so they made that decision. Which was funky. And it was a little bit different because Mitchell had indicated a desire to leave. It was just so draining to live in Utah. I can't believe he lasted a day. And with that in mind, the situation's a little bit different. But and that management, they didn't put all the money into those guys. That's the good thing about this management is that
these are their guys.
Yeah, you can't. Well, we didn't want these guys.
Right.
You brought these guys in. It's on you. It's on you now to see if they turn out, then good on you. If they don't, then you need to answer for it.
Straight to the Godfather.
Well, you do.
Accountability is what Kyle Whittingham would have said, but you got to answer for it.
You do.
You got to answer for Santini.
Santino.
Sorry.
Santini is actually
the great Santini. I got the wrong movie right.
Sports bar right off the freeway in
really?
Phoenix that I usually go to when I attend. Santini Brothers.
I got my Robert Duvall movies confused. He did the great Santini. So
no, this is Santino. You have to answer, and he did have to answer for him, and he
got
whacked.
He did. He got whacked.
Right, and that could happen here.
GMs come and GMs go. Well, now they have other titles, but you get the idea.
There could be a whackage. I don't think that will be the case. In fact, I would go so far as to say I would be surprised if that were
possibly
the case.
Even shocked.
But you have to answer for it. And they know this.
Right.
It's a public job, and they understand it.
I think the thing we just saw with the Sixers is you can give the guy that kind of money, and then it can be the wrong guy. And Paul George, again, good player, but not worth the money he's getting. You know, you can argue whether he's worth 60, 70, 80% of the value or whatever. And getting to the point where he has injuries and can't even get on the court for long periods of time. And he goes through several teams as a high profile. Well, he was high profile in Indiana, to Oklahoma City, to the Clippers and the Sixers. But they flip him to the Celtics for the guy. So just because the guy you have right now isn't the guy, all is not lost. Can he be flipped for someone who's the guy? Now, the question is, will Jaylen Brown turn out to be the guy for Philadelphia? So you may not have your guy, but you might be a year away from flipping him for the guy who's the guy.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I think it happens rarely, but it does happen.
Yeah, I think that sink or swim with these guys.
Oh, really? See, I think the Jazz have so many young guys and so many picks to come that inevitably somebody who's 29 is going to have to be flipped for somebody, and that's marketing.
Yeah, but he's not going to be flipped for the guy. You're going to your scenario there. Sure, they can trade him today. Probably people would want him, but I'm talking about for the guy. They're going to sink or swim with these two for the time being.
Yes, for the time being.
Guy.
Yes,
and I'm talking the next 2 to 3 years, and after that, I ain't not worried about that.
I was thinking more 2 than 3.
Okay,
because you don't want him to walk away and get nothing, and they want to give him a raise when he's 32.
Well, yeah, but they may be on top of the world, and he'll be fine taking a little lesser. It's
possible.
If you love the outdoors, then who cares if you're making 45 versus 35?
Yeah. Where else would you go in the NBA?
Right. Yeah. And you got a hockey team here, and you love the outdoors?
That just is Seattle. Seattle's got the outdoors and hockey. That's the one you have to worry about, and they don't even exist yet.
Yeah.
When does their expansion happen? That's when you have to start to worry.
I think that they're in it with this group as the nucleus, and then we get to see it unfold. How far does it go? And the great thing about it is, unlike college, you got this great recruiting class, let's wait for 2 years. No, they're not going to be around in 2 years. If it doesn't work, they're out the door, and in basketball, they're going to the NBA anyway, or they're going to bigger money. So now we've had the stability is more so in the pros. I think this group will be around for at least a couple of years, and we'll get to see how it develops. And I'm excited for it, actually, because I think it's going to develop well. But if it doesn't, you have to answer for it. And you also have the opportunity to bask in the joy of doing it. Man, if you do it here, this team, this group wins it all.
You'd be a legend forever.
Yeah. A few weeks back, I was flicking around on a Saturday afternoon, and they were honoring the 10-year anniversary of the Cubs. And they have them, they got that like garage thing out in center field, right? Mm-hmm. So it was up, and they had a red carpet. Basically, maybe it was blue, I don't know. Yeah. And so they all came out through center field and then sat on in the infield, right? And then they went up in the bleachers and sat up there. And I think Rizzo caught the ball that Bush, who plays first base for the Cubs, hit a home run. Last Saturday, I'm flicking around, and they're honoring the 40th anniversary of the Mets. And they brought him out through the dugout. And then they walked the other way, basically. Mm-hmm. And then and they had like a semicircle. And, I watched the whole thing. It was nostalgic. I remember that team.
If you can have that level of nostalgia in a town that's got, those two towns have so many teams and multiple championships. Yeah. The Cubs won, but the White Sox have won. The Bears won, although it's going on 40 years now. Obviously, Jordan had his run. They got tons of titles.
Yeah, so to have that.
To have that here, It would be off the charts.
Yeah. Yeah. We would probably have a yearly reunion.
And bring him out. It'd be like my Aztecs running out Don Coryell one more time.
Well, it would be so
Special.
just beyond comprehension to a lot of fans that it would just be the ultimate. Your fandom would be complete. You would have in the manner. That's the thing about the Dodgers this year. But I was going to finish the thought. You'd have when the Cubs won and people went to the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
When the Red Sox won, people went to the cemetery. Well, ain't nobody going to the cemetery if the Dodgers win it this year.
Nope. It's the day that ends in Y, people.
You're going, if it's not on a weekend, you're going to work the next day. And they'll have the parade, but the parade, it won't mean as much. It can't. It simply cannot mean as much when you're expected to do it. And then you got this reinforcement with Skubal that even enhances it to the point where if you don't win it all, it's a major disappointment. You could argue that if the Dodgers don't win it all in September, or October, I should say, that this season has been a failure.
They're in championship or bust mode, and the teams that are in that mode, it's very short. It's a very short list. But they're
but
in
even
it.
with that, it's not necessarily a failure. Toronto Blue Jays was not a failure last year. The Jazz seasons in 97 and 98 were not failures. I could argue the failures were actually before that, when you should have done more, or in the 2 years Jordan was out of the playoff in terms of potentially meeting him in the East, from out of the East.
Well, specifically, I would say 95. I mean, to me, that is the biggest failure, the biggest missed opportunity, the biggest woulda, coulda, shoulda, that. And there's Game 7 losses in there, and there's other, but man, you had the defending champs, and you had a 10-point lead in the decisive fifth game, and you're at home, and there's 5 minutes to go. I mean, you got to. There's 5 minutes left. You're up 10.
Well, I would argue 88 with the Lakers. You win that, you're probably the best team in the league. I don't know that, but
No, but they were super close.
yeah, right. So those are your 2 times, rather than that 97, 98. There's no way I'll die on the hill that season was not a failure.
Yeah,
those seasons were not failures. If the Dodgers don't win it this year, this season is going to be a failure. There's no other way around it. And so if you win, well, you deserve to celebrate because you won, and you deserve to have a parade and a party and all that stuff. That's great. And then you go down as one of the greatest teams. Yeah, was it assembled through money? Partially. But was it also assembled through shrewd talent acquisition? Yes.
Yes.
Probably good managerial. I mean, don't forget, last year when Paez made that great catch in the 9th inning, he was inserted as a defensive replacement with 1 out because he had the better arm. And they needed, if there was a sac fly possibility. So I think they took Edman out, put in Paez to potentially make the throw. Well, there is no throw, but he's tall and covers that ground and makes a sensational catch. Well, that was a managerial decision that put him in the game. He was not in the game at that time. And Roberts put him in the game.
The thing Roberts doesn't get enough credit for is with all those MVPs, he's balancing egos behind the scenes. I've heard stories about other teams where stars fought over who got to decide when the charter plane leaves. I mean, there's so many petty things that can happen, and they're not having public issues with that. So a lot of this stuff, during the game, these decisions are getting made. That's a great example, right? And we can probably find a bunch. But when their game isn't going on, he's still juggling egos and attitudes and who hits where in the order and who's mad at somebody over who knows what slight. It's a big part of being middle management, which is what baseball managers are these days. Because they have front office types trying to decide who plays and who pitches and for how long.
Yeah. So if they get it done here, it would be akin to simply the greatest sports achievement that's ever happened in this state. and it will be recognized forever. And they put all their eggs into this basket. And they had to do something.
They had to accelerate it.
Yeah.
With the trade.
Right.
To bring in Jaren Jackson Jr.
You couldn't go for another draft pick, a high level, losing to get a draft pick in 27. At that point, it would have been preposterous, and it would have been a joke, and the fan base would have said, screw this. Call me up when you're ready to win, and I'll come back, but I'm out now. And I would have been right there side by side with them. That doesn't mean they're not good fans. It's just they would have had it. The process of not winning does not last 5 years. It lasted 4, and it was 4 long ones. Now they're ready to go.
That's why it was a joke in Philly when the Sixers did go that long.
Although Embiid, when he was drafted, sat out the first 2 years. He did not play, not 1, but 2 years. So that forced the process here.
And we've seen other clubs not be competitive for a decade or more, and fan bases go away. You saw it with the Suns. I saw it with the Padres. And in a way, you're lucky it was 10 years because they're teams that have been down 20-plus years and can't figure it out.
Yeah, but the sad part is for some of those teams, they were trying to win, but they just made brutal decisions.
What is sadder?
Right.
What is sadder, doing it on purpose?
Right.
Or stumbling into that kind of failure?
And here, we all understood what the objective was. Now, we all understand that objective literally has flipped. And with that comes a higher level of responsibility and accountability, if you want to go for accountability. That's fine. And this is all stuff that if any of them were listening would be nodding their heads saying, absolutely. We're ready to go, man. We're done with that. And from the ownership down to the management level, to the on-court management with Will Hardy, to the actual players. That's why I really want to see what marketing can do this year when the lights are on every game. And if you're not playing, I don't want to see you sitting over there smiling.
How many games can he play, and how high a level can he shoot it? And can he give him, what else can he give him? As far as defense and rebounding, when you're tanking.
Leadership, the whole spiel. Yeah.
When you're tanking, there's no pressure in those areas, and now there's going to be pressure in all those areas.
Right.
They're going to have to be a better defensive team. They're going to have to be a better rebounding team.
And if they don't win, I don't want only Hardy being mad. I want all of them. And if they sit marketing because, okay, we've told you to sit, then you can smile. But if he's sitting and he's smiling because he's not playing, he's hurt, he better not be freaking smiling this year. I don't want to see any smiles out of him.
Man, what's it going to be? 60, 65, 70, 75? How many games is he
I want to
play?
see a serious mindset from the first guy to the last guy. And, yeah, you can have fun along the way, but...
Yeah, if you're smiling, you better be winning.
But you're playing.
No smiling when you're losing.
Right, yeah, you can smile away when you're winning, absolutely, and you should. Life's short, have some fun with it. And... I can recall Majerus. You want fun? Winning is fun. And it is.
It is. It's intoxicating.
Yeah.
It's addicting.
I talked about that with Riley last week, about how it is the ultimate drug, and you should be striving for it. And now they've set this team up. That's the great thing about it. All the stuff that they inherited, it's gone. The new blood starts. What can the new blood do? It starts now, this season. What can they do? At the end of the month, these guys will be rolling back into town around Labor Day to get with the informal workouts, and a lot of them are still here. And then we go. At the end of next month, we'll have Media Day. We'll be over there, and it'll be a lot of fun because everyone will be talking about the idea of winning. And we've been over there the last several years, and it has been obvious. And you couldn't crack on it. It was ridiculous to crack on them. But now the great thing is we don't have to look about, that 3 or 4 minute stretch, that young rookie, he played well. No, screw that. What's the score?
What's the score and what are the standings?
And the first guy who complains about the schedule, yeah, you're going to have to answer to PK. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear freaking complaining about the schedule this year. No. Everybody's got whatever you got. You may have a tougher spot here, but they'll have the tougher spot over there. I don't want to hear it. No excuses this year.
Get to the play-in, get to the playoff. Can they get to the top 6? And if not, how well do they set themselves up so they emerge from the 7 through 10 play-in games?
As Gretchen Wilson sings in her song High Class Broad, can I get a hell yeah? And then there's a chorus of young girls screaming, hell yeah! To all the stuff that you just said, yes.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Stevenson Sylvester is talking college football. We're a month away now. And Bob Nightengale, MLB columnist for USA Today, joins us after the break. We'll talk about the Dodgers, Skubal, challengers, possible challengers, and the threat of 2027 going away, and the promise of Major League Baseball in Utah down the road. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
They've been doing it for a while.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
I think the Jazz want to make the playoffs this year, and they really have no motivation for not making the playoffs this year because their draft pick goes to the Memphis Grizzlies in the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. How motivated are the Jazz actually going to feel to maximize the win total of this roster using all the assets available to them to get there? My guess is it's actually not as high as fans would think because they don't have to do anything exactly right.
The truth is they are dedicated to it. But that doesn't mean they have to do anything about it right now.
Sure.
But no, not one person in that building, if you went up to them and said, hey, is the Bosnian Beak your answer at center? Not one of them is going to say yes.
Right. Or Jackson Hayes.
Or any of that. No, they're not.
Yeah.
So, yes, they do need to address the problem, for sure. Do they need to address it right now?
I don't think so.
Absolutely not. No, why would they?
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, and we're joined now by Bob Nightengale, Major League Baseball columnist for USA Today. Bob, good morning.
Morning. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. We have so many topics to hit with you, expansion, labor stoppage, but let's start with the trade deadline. The Dodgers get Skubal. Are you one of the people who thinks it's over, I don't need to watch anything now, or the baseball postseason's wildly unpredictable and you just never know?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, the Yankees were always a team to beat there in the late 90s and, other decades. And I think people like to see a superpower to see if they get knocked off. But, yeah, I mean, anything can happen. Maybe outside the Phillies, you're not sure who can knock off the Dodgers. But it's certainly possible.
I want to know, Bob, what are you going to do to spend your time in the summer of 27?
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't go too long this summer. I'm sure it'll go through the spring of 27. Hopefully they will still give it 140 games in, something like that. I think it's going to wipe out. I do think it's going to wipe out spring training.
What's your level of confidence? If you told me right now I can take 140, and you're talking to a guy who went on a baseball trip for vacation a couple of weeks ago, and I only have 2 more parks before I've knocked them all out, so obviously I love the game. But if you told me 140 right now, I would take it. What's your confidence level?
Yeah, I'm confident we're going to have a season. I don't believe for a second we won't have a season. So I'll take the 140.
Nice.
If you said, okay, over under 140, I'll go 140 and do it that way. I just think it's going to take at least 1 missed paycheck, if not 2. And the players don't get paid until first week of April, and every 2 weeks after that. So that's why I think it's going to take a little while to see who blinks first.
Why would the players, and maybe it's because it's a different generation of players, but why would the players blink after a couple paychecks when there's a history of them not blinking after a couple of paychecks?
Well, just a new generation of players, and they're gonna jack up that minimum salary to about $1.25 million. It was never close to being that high. They're gonna have more guys eligible for arbitration, probably lower free agency from 6 years to 5 for 30-year-olds. So they're going to try to do the rank and file. Remember now, in 2021, the executive committee voted 8-0 not to play, keep negotiating. They went to the clubs and said, wait a minute, then we want to play. And they voted 26-4, said, hey, we're playing.
Yeah, right. I think that's the holdout for hope, is that when it's put to, essence, if you will, a popular vote, that they take it at that point. The way we have now is like, we were waiting for Skubal to get traded and was likely going to be to the Dodgers, and it happened. And just the perception of the game, I don't blame the Dodgers by any stretch. They're taking advantage of the rules. But the perception is it's unfair. What is your take on that, at least from a perception standpoint?
Yeah, I don't think it's unfair by any means. They have the money; they're spending it. Would people be happy, more happy if they're just lining the pockets of Mark Walter in the ownership group? On the opening day, the Mets had a bigger payroll than the Dodgers did. The Mets have spent more money than the Dodgers the last 5 years. And even if you look back at this Skubal trade, two of those guys they got in different trades. They're only 11th round draft picks that they acquired in trades from the Cubs and the Padres, and their only guy was the 3rd round draft pick. And so that they do things better than anybody else too, as far as drafting, developing players. They just don't throw money out there. They do everything.
The Dodgers have been more willing to go to delayed payments and paying guys way down the road. And other teams aren't doing that. And that seems to be an advantage for the Dodgers. How come nobody's gone with them in that area?
One thing I think the players want to do it is just because of the California taxes. Let's go to Shohei Ohtani. He's only making, $2 million a year. $68 million is deferred until 10 years from now. So if you're Ohtani, you avoid paying those California taxes until you're, out of state. So wherever he is 10 years from now, I'm sure it's not going to be in California, so he doesn't have to pay it. So I think they do it more just because the players are more willing to do so, just because of the high tax rate in California.
What about the idea, Bob, that the situation with the television contracts and so forth, meaning that the Dodgers spend less than, and I believe you're based out of Phoenix, the Diamondbacks, but in terms of their revenue, because they make so much more money from these other televisions, so forth, that they could literally spend less, but the percentage-wise, but it actually is more in dollars. Is there anything that can be done as far as, I guess, evening that out?
Well, I think that's why with the when it talk about luxury tax or a salary cap, I should say, they want, a floor too. So they're going to force these teams to spend money. And they're also, if there's a salary cap, they're forcing these teams to share all their TV revenue. So the Dodgers, who are making about $340 million a year, shares equally with the teams like, Milwaukee Brewers, who are making $20 million a year. Diamondbacks are probably about $25 million or so. The Padres. So that's the part they're trying to get, do the level playing field, very similar to the NFL.
The Dodgers have the second highest payroll. The Mets number 1, the Yankees 3. The Yankees have been crushed by a couple of injuries here. Are they going to get healthy enough to pay off the promise and meet the expectations the Yankees are just always expected to make and pay off the promise that they had earlier this season when they were healthier?
Well, some of the Yankees just so injury riddled right now. No Judge, no Stanton again, no Cody Bellinger. You're not going to win that way. They want to make some moves, but if Aaron Judge doesn't come back, they'll probably just spin their wheels. I don't see how they can win with Aaron Judge, and I think they're a lot more pessimistic than they convey publicly about whether he can return or not. A lot of people don't think he'll be back.
How does this labor issue affect expansion?
I don't think so. I haven't heard anything on that. The only thing that affects expansion is making sure that two teams, you don't have to do what they did in Florida, where they paid about $4 billion trying to keep that Miami franchise afloat. Tampa's had problems with the stadium, so as long as the stadiums are ironclad and they trust the ownership groups, it shouldn't have an effect.
I thought with the new ownership group in Tampa Bay, that stadium was on track, but now I'm reading stories that there's some hitches there. Is that going to get ironed out, or is that going to slow things up?
Well, the thing's been going on forever now.
Yeah.
I think they got to they got to get this thing resolved soon, or not. If not, I would say they open the doors for, move that franchise over to Orlando. Orlando's been, craving for that thing for a long time. If they have the right ownership group and get a stadium in place, billions of visitors, visit Disney World every year. So it'd be easy move if they can't get it done in Tampa.
And I assume you're still high on Nashville and Salt Lake City. If not, tell us. But my thought for you, assuming that you are still high on those two, what is the timeline?
Salt Lake, I think, is a lock. It should be Nashville, but Salt Lake's got the ownership group. Got Dale Murphy involved, everything else. So I think that's a go for sure in Salt Lake. But you're talking about probably either 2031 or 2032 when they play their first major league games. And some owners aren't crazy about it. I mean, it's going to be a high expansion fee just because the talent, as we've seen pitching wise, now you're going to dilute it more, by having 26 more pitchers in the game. It's like, wow, where's this talent going to come from? But I think either 31 or 32.
Isn't part of the answer on where the talent is going to come from that the game's going to continue to be more international and there'll be more players coming, whether it's the Caribbean, Central America, Japan, Korea, wherever? I mean, the whole goal of the World Baseball Classic is to keep growing the game. Venezuela, I should be throwing Venezuela in the mix as well. Isn't that where the talent's going to come from?
They hope so. I mean, that's why I think they're going to let the major league players play in the Olympics in 2028 here, doing that. But yeah, I mean, it's more and more international players for sure. Just like we see in the NBA, we see that more in baseball as well.
I had heard some stuff or read some stuff about possibilities of revamping the draft and maybe high school kids and getting some form of foreign players into the draft. I haven't heard anything. It's about a week or so ago. It seemed a little silly not to let high school kids get drafted, but where do you think that stands? Yeah,
I don't see there's any way that's going to fly. I mean, they like it's cheaper for the colleges to develop these kids instead of the minor leagues, but there's no way you can force these kids to say, okay, I don't want to go to college. What I have to do is go to Japan or Mexico for 2 years. So I don't think that's ever going to fly. I really don't.
I'm not even convinced why the owners think that would be a good job. I mean, there have been plenty of stories about, if you start forcing all the pitchers to go to college, they're trying to win there. They're not trying to develop, and then do guys pitch too much and they have arm problems? It seems like for a sport that wants more pitching, pushing all those pitchers to college is not a great idea.
No, I agree. I mean, if you go to college, you may not be playing until you're, starting into your junior year, that sort of thing, if you're a position player. So, yeah, that's why I think there's so many holes in that theory. That's why I don't think that would ever fly.
Yeah. Well, Bob, we will continue to read you every week. We appreciate your calling. PK turned me on to it. I'm a regular reader now. And for people who want more baseball info, they can follow you in the USA Today, get all your stuff online. You got a lot of good stuff. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for writing baseball all the time.
Sure, my pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Bob Nightengale, MLB columnist for USA Today, joining us right here on The Zone.
I'm happy now.
Because he said slam dunk to Utah in 2031 or 32?
Well, that's strong, a slam dunk. I mean, that's 2 points every time.
That is.
He did say lock, but...
He said lock.
Tomato.
I was surprised he was that strong. No, I'm happy about them. I mean, I'm happy about that, too.
They're happy about the 140-game season.
I would take that.
That seems like a minimal amount of damage.
From what
and it's easy for me to say because I'm not the one losing money in Arizona.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, if
there's no spring training,
there would probably be some, but it would not be what it's been, and then you don't know.
A lot of people get seasonal employment there, and it matters.
And the millions of people from Chicago and the Midwest who come out, they can't plan it.
Right.
And it's good for the locals who want to go see the games because the prices will be cheaper because they'll throw it together real quick. But if they went 140, because it just seems like, based on all the history of such animosity, and it's like I said earlier, is that you wonder, do the issues get discussed for the first 75% of the time rather than, I'm just going to show you. And I don't care. As long as I win, I don't care what I win. and I want to beat you, and I want to humble you, and then how much of that is, and then you finally get down to the nitty-gritty later when they could have been doing it earlier, but the ego's involved, and we're going to show you, I'm going to lock you out. Well, I'm going to show you, man. We're the stars, not you. Nobody knows who you are when you walk down the street. They come to see us. And so you got all that politics stuff that goes involved there. But if Bob, who's plugged in big time, is thinking 140 and doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, when I'm led to believe that the sky is falling when it comes to next season, and you read stuff. I was talking.
People are not on the same page.
I was telling Yak last week when I asked him about the Passan, and he said Jeff Passan, right? Passan. I keep screwing it up because I asked him how do you pronounce his name, and it's Passan, and he said he's hearing from owners that say we're not going to have a season next year.
But is that posturing by the owners trying to influence the players so that they can settle and play 140?
No, I understand that. But me as a Joe fan, I read that. I think, oh, my gosh, that sucks.
I read the same thing. I mean, I was on vacation, but I was on my phone. I saw that story. And, I mean, there's a lot of people reporting this, and it's like you said a long time ago. Do you report the truth, or do you report what people tell you? You report what people tell you. And that's why there's commentary and opinion trying to suss out the truth, because everyone's giving you the quote that reflects the story they want to tell.
Right. I understand that, but still as a fan,
I know
that's not good news.
No, there's info all over the place. Like the season's gone. Maybe they'll play 60 like they did a few years ago with the pandemic. They played 60 and then they went to the playoffs so that they could get paid for the World Series and the playoffs, which is where they get most of their network TV money.
Right.
And it didn't feel like a real season because it wasn't. It was 100 games short.
But I can live with
20 games short is not what you want, but you can live with it, especially because the 20 games you miss are at the start of the year in a lot of major league cities. It's miserable weather and bizarro games.
Like 3-4 weeks.
And we're in the NBA and NHL
There's a million
playoffs.
things going on. Masters.
Yeah.
So I would barely notice it. I would actually notice because of my Arizona roots, I would notice it more in spring training than I would then.
Yeah.
Because you got March Madness and...
And if the option is 162 or 140, 140 is terrible. But if the option is 140 or no baseball or 140 or 60 games, 140 is awesome.
I think it is, yeah, right. As I say, I would take that right now. Right now, I'd sign off on it. And then I wouldn't worry. Kick back. A fight among yourselves. I don't care. Tell me when it's settled. And then it's settled, and away we go. And then the Dodgers win the division in 27.
They're loaded for a while.
When do injuries back where you started?
When do injuries drag them down? All dynasties come to an end. How much do you have to suffer if you're rooting for one of the other teams? Well, which we are.
Considering what they just did with the Skubal deal where they didn't have to get rid of their top prospects to add him, who's to say that it's ever going to end?
Because everything ends.
Well,
right, but relatively ever, if it's 15 years, that is forever. Because that doesn't happen. Didn't even happen it happened to the Yankees way back when there was no player movement and all that stuff.
They got on over.
And there was no draft. The draft didn't come about till the middle of the 60s, right? Something along those lines. And so, if they had a 15-year run, now they already have approaching 15 with the division, but if they won 11 out of 15 World Series, that would be staggering.
That would be. And they're trying to go for the 6th time in 10 years. And they're 3-2 when they get there in these previous 5.
Yeah,
because that's where it's one thing when it's the division, it's another thing when it's a league, and it's another thing when it's all of baseball. And so for the rest of the National League,
when it's just a series,
right? For the rest of the National League, though, looking up at these guys 5 times in 9 years gets old, and is it about to be 6 and 10?
It is in a sense, but we didn't balk when the Warriors went, when the Patriots were going. Somehow we gave them credit.
Well, there was some complaining about the Warriors when they signed Durant.
It was 2 years.
But it was 2 wins, but we didn't know it at the time. Was it going to be 3 or 4 wins, and it didn't turn out to be?
Right. But it's okay.
Right.
But it was still 2 years. But, I mean, I didn't see anybody complaining when Jordan was winning 6 in a row, essentially. I thought it was great. The ratings are through the roof and all that stuff.
Yep. But there was a salary cap, and they weren't outspending people, and they didn't do it with free agent acquisitions, and that's what people complain about.
Okay, but the dominance of one team If the Dodgers play the next 7 World Series like they did last year, who's complaining?
That was very entertaining.
Yeah.
7 games and right down to the final inning, and you don't know.
Inches.
Yeah, you don't know.
Right.
You're sitting on the edge of the seat, even if you're neutral, which I was.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Padres, I've obviously be going nuts, but it's not, so.
But it was captivating.
Yeah.
I talked about this with Pablo last week when the questions on the World Cup. I said, I just want sports to be entertaining. You people need to understand it's entertaining. And then he brought it up to a movie, drama or.
I listened to the interview getting ready to call the game Saturday, and the point he brought up about going back and watching the broadcast.
Yeah.
Other people's observations. What do they see? Ex-players, ex-coaches on the call, and I get why coaches do that. I've heard of a lot of coaches, actually. For all the complaining about the media, a lot of coaches do that, and in multiple sports, multiple levels. And he said, he heard the analysis like, hey, this is exciting. Hey, this is fun. Which to a certain degree, the players are fans, and you need buy-in for them to do a lot of hard work. So you're playing a style that's fun for them to play, because then it's easier to get them to buy in to do the hard stuff.
And we both agreed rom-coms suck and car chases and people jumping off buildings and stuff.
No kidding, man.
That's where we're at.
We need action and we need adventure.
I knew I liked that guy.
You need action and you need adventure. Are people going to sit around and talk about their feelings? That's just not as interesting. Don't you just want to see a guy at the start of a movie like run in a tux for like 5 straight minutes without breaking a sweat?
Yeah. Jump out of planes, man.
Ladder into the sky.
The whole spiel.
One of the best James Bond stars ever.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, DJ and PK, Stevenson Sylvester, college football, top of the hour. Stay with us.
Turn it up. Let's go. It's a new era for sports radio in Utah. This is the all-new KSL Sports Zone. As always, DJ and PK kick off your mornings from 6 to 10. Then introducing the newest addition to the KSL Sports Zone. The coach, Tim Lacombe, joins Scotty G every day from 10 to 2. And as you wrap up your day, Jake Scott and Ben Anderson are there with the best sports talk in Utah from 2 to 6. Live and local, all day, every day. Your home for the best sports radio in Utah is live, on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyer's rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
And now, your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealer strong play of the weekend.
Massa drives one down the right field line. This is crushed. Sayonara! Third homer of the inning. Red Sox 5, Dodgers 3.
There's the Chevy Strong play of the weekend. The sweep. Red Sox taking down the Dodgers. Know it today, this afternoon. Jake and Ben will call for it. And if you know what it is, you got a chance to win fabulous prizes. So good luck. Coming up, we're going to talk with PK's got an interview with Stevenson Sylvester, former Utah and NFL linebacker. He's got stories about, what does it take to make it in the NFL. And I was flying out of town. This is just the most Utah story you could ever hope to have. Flying out of town at the Salt Lake Airport last week, PK. And I go to get something to eat, and our gate, right down from our gate, is the Cafe Rio. So I go into the Cafe Rio to get a breakfast burrito. And who's there at the table talking with football fans, being just being the nicest, most cooperative celebrity ever? Britton Covey. So he finishes talking to them. He starts talking to me. And I was telling him, we love having you on the show. I said, you got a couple quotes that have always stayed with me. He's like, what? I'm like, well, you told us once how you got to savor every day in the NFL. because the roster turns over so fast because of injuries, because they're looking for somebody who's, better, or they're looking for somebody who's less expensive, or they're looking for somebody who's younger, and he's just nodding. And you're like, hey, where's Bob? And they're like, oh, they let Bob go Tuesday. It's like, guys just come and go. And he's like, I'm at that point in my career. I look around now and I'm like, wait, they brought in another 5'8" white guy? No.
Not that many of them in the NFL.
No. And it's like, he's coming for my job? Is he a slot receiver return guy? Well, he's not a defensive tackle. So what could possibly be happening here? It just gets to how wildly competitive it is. There's so many good college players. There's so many good college games, and they all want to go to the NFL, and there just aren't that many spots. You got 100 and whatever, 130-something college football teams. I think it's like 136. And that doesn't count the teams playing at the FCS level. And Weber State's put guys in the NFL. Southern Utah's put guys in the NFL.
That's literally what we talked about with Sylvester.
Yeah.
Sly, as they call him.
Yeah.
And I told him a story about Trevor Riley and his NFL experience and how he was told, if you don't get a call, you're good to go. Well, then he doesn't get the call, he's good to go, except for the day after he thought he was good to go.
He got a call.
Yeah. But, and I saw that
because somebody that wasn't with his deal, somebody else got cut.
Somebody got waived, yeah. And so he thought he was on for about 24 hours, and then he wasn't. The only thing I would say is if you're going to use the word either, don't give me 15 options. So you went either they want somebody better, someone younger, someone healthier, just go either or. Don't give me that many. Now you're okay grammatically there.
Woo!
But it's been
that's not like between and among.
It's been sort of, how like the word ain't became a word when it's not really a word.
It's like irregardless.
Irregardless is a word.
Now.
When Webster was putting together the language, either was like one of two, but you had like 15 options there. I got a little confused. Mm-hmm. So I would say next time, just eliminate the word either.
Could have gone with the war.
Jobs are on the line. And that's so true. And they're on the line the whole season for a guy like Britton Covey.
There are a lot of guys in the NFL.
Week 0 in training camp is no different than week 10. You have to be there every freaking week.
Guys are coming and going. There's guys on the practice squad.
The NFL is the most precarious league to try to make, even though the numbers are the largest.
Chad Lewis has a story that was terrible that worked out great for him. After he was in Philly, he went to St. Louis, but then he lost his job in St. Louis because the linebacker got hurt, and he played tight end. But they were carrying 3 tight ends, so they went out and got another linebacker, and let one of the tight ends go, and one of the tight ends was him. But that's what got him back to Philly, where he then settled in and had a great run.
Well, he should have played tight end.
He should have played linebacker. He was a tight end.
Then he should have played linebacker.
I know. Well,
it's like Jim Leland. He told his mother, the old manager, baseball, he told his mother, I don't think I'm going to be in the big leagues this year as a coach. And she said, why not? He said, because they already hired a first base coach and they already hired a third base coach. And then she said, well, who'd they hire for the second base coach?
That'd be awesome. Some dudes out there
just in shallow center field,
dodging line drives and ground balls, and telling guys to slide into second.
It's funny. Of someone who made the majors, his mother wasn't even sure about the game.
All right, DJ and PK. We'll take a break. We come back. More football with Stevenson Sylvester next. Stay with us.